heart attack. Fast, fatal, hard impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do continue, let's give a brief little rundown as to what happened in the last part, and then continue from there. Now, Deku, he came up with a crazy idea. Right now, he wants the Cuaght dead. So, he devised a bit of a plan. He told the members of the Earth Council, or the Earth Government, about what he's going to be doing. And right now, a lot of them, they're kind of confused. Deku left them with half a plan on Earth. Meanwhile, they're going to go investigate something out in space. Now, they're not exactly too sure what Deku's investigating, because at this point, it could be anything out there. And, from what they do understand, it's related to either the Cuaght or the Dreamtix. And Deku, he is actually very happy about what he's doing. With the fact that he left the humans on Earth confused, the Cuaght, it has no choice but to come after Deku, because he might actually be launching an actual attack against one of their outposts, or he is going after the Dreamtix. And right now, if they can take him down, and, well, cause a bit of a commotion on this ship, then they may be able to deter humanity from working with the Council. Or, well, you know, cause a bit more of an incident. Now, with that, we do actually at least have aboard the ship with Denki and Claire. These two are both aboard as well. Denki, he's working as security, and Claire is working as a engineer or mechanic. And Deku, he himself is somewhat concerned about how long this idea or plan will take. Because if he's away for too long, he's going to feel bad for leaving Amelia there on Earth alone. Now, with that being said, it's been about 2 weeks aboard the ship. And Deku, well, he has seen some unusual activity. He has been trying to keep it under wraps. Right now, he does know that somebody they're trying to sabotage the ship. So he knows that the Cuaght is aboard. And there is the fact that the fake weapons they did have aboard, some of them, they did actually end up damaged. Now, Deku, he acted surprised by this, and he acted like he didn't know what was going on. And he didn't even place the idea in everybody's head about what's going on with the Cuaght. Now, all of them, their reactions were real. They thought that Deku, he might have been, you know, grasping at straws. But the fact that half the crew members are aliens, it does actually open up the realistic possibility more. And that was something that a lot of them, they had to somewhat watch out for. Right now, a lot of them, they're being cautious, and they're reacting the same way a paranoid human would react. Now, the Devrix actually is quite curious watching these reactions, and there actually is the other member of the humanoid alien species that does resemble humans. Now, you do actually at least have their reaction. They are very curious to see how humans are reacting, and Deku does try to at least keep these two in mind, in case the chances are either of them could end up possessed. Now, Deku, he's currently sitting down, and he is going over a few things on his computer. Right now, he does go to listen to certain, well, frequencies he does have set up inside the ship, and he's at least going over a few voice recordings. Now, Deku, he is listening to a few of them. The crew members, they've been talking about their days. They've been talking about anything, any sort of subject they can just to pass time. And Deku currently, he is just waiting. Okay, so, where are you? That being what he is thinking. He knows that it will pop up. If it doesn't, then this entire trip might be a waste. So, he's worried. Now, we do actually at least have, whenever, he does get to walk out of his room for dinner. And if he does arrive, he does get a pre-made meal, which he does go to look down at and see. Many members of the crew actually talking about how it does just seem kind of bad, doesn't it? Hmm? What do you mean? I mean, guys, if what he's saying is right, any one of us here could be possessed. Hmm? Well, yeah, that's true. However, all you've been made well aware. Look for strange behavior. I mean, besides, we still do at least have some weaponry on board. So, as long as we do have that, we're fine. Yeah, but we can't just carry them out in the open. Yeah, that's not allowed. If you carry them out openly, then a lot more people are going to get more paranoid. More paranoia means more, well, you know. Now, Deku he is trying to make sure he knows who's at the table. And right now, he actually is looking around, as there's only one person missing here. So, if that person's the Cuaght and their supplies do get destroyed, then he'll know. Deku gonna look down towards his watch and checking the time, talking about how it is currently about 7 p.m. on Earth. Hmm? Why are you still wearing a watch? I'm sorry? Yes, the watch. Oh, this. Deku bringing his hand up to it, talking about how it's actually something that he was given when he got aboard the ship. Right now, it is currently linked to the ship's AI. And he is updated whenever anything does need to either be repaired, looked at, or even basic maintenance does need to be performed on multiple things. Along with that, the person or the AI does give him updates on certain things. Now, everybody there kind of confused as to why Deku he's so nonchalant. And Deku, he at least does try to maintain some sort of unease, but everybody can tell that he actually is calmer than the rest. And right now, some people, they actually are kind of suspicious that Deku might be the Cuaght. However, they're not too sure what to say. Apparently, he's fought one off before when he was possessed. At least that's the official story they were given. So, do they automatically clear him because he might be, you know, able to fight back, or can anybody do that? Now, we do at least have somebody who's sitting down, and they are eating, and they're sitting by Deku. Then one open their mouth and ask Deku a question, asking what it was like to be possessed. Hmm? Oh, um, that's both a strange thing to ask me, and, well, answering it's kind of stranger. Hmm? I mean, everybody here is freaking out. So we'd at least like to know what's going to happen to us. Because I feel like being fully conscious for that type of thing, it would freak me the fuck out. Hmm? Yeah, now that you actually mention it, I would rather have a gap in my memory. Now, David is going to turn towards that person, telling them that he wishes he did have a gap in his memory, actually, because that would have made things a whole lot easier to process. Hmm? Excuse me? You get glimpses sometimes, and it's strange. You know how. Okay, here's the best way to explain it from like the bare minimum, from starting over. Imagine you were living your life normally. You do what you do every day, you do everything you like, everything you enjoy. Now, imagine being told and finding out that all of that is fake. All of them kind of confused. And Deku, he does continue on, expressing to them. He learned after being possessed that apparently you live a different version of your own life, and you're quite literally trapped inside your own mind, and you don't even realize it. A day could go by for you, and a month can pass in the real world. The Traquaw, they're kind of both sadistic with this and interesting with it. They don't need to keep the mind occupied to possess it, but they choose to do this. He doesn't know if it's for ease of control or if it's because people won't fight back as much if they are occupied with something they believe to be real. Now, a few people, they're both intrigued by that and kind of creeped out by it. The idea of full, well, what? Thinking everything is real and just having all this weird shit happen to you, the way he explains it in further detail, yeah, no, they're good. They're fine with that. Now, we do at least have Deku, who, while he is sitting down, he does go to look over to one of the engineers. And they're actually sitting right next to Claire and talking to her. As Deku is going to focus on their right hand, which is on the table. And they're currently holding a fork. Now, their hand is directly on top of the fork, however, their little finger is actually somewhat tapping up and down. And Deku is going to stare at that for a minute. No, wait a minute. That's not random. Him looking around. Nobody else is moving around that way. Everyone else's body language just seems to be normal. Okay, so let's see. No, he doesn't have damage in his hands, there's no scars. His medical record's clear. Okay, so what else could it be? No instances of hypothermia, so no nerve damage. Okay, so it's gotta be Morse code, right? Deku paying attention to it. And he does go to try and mentally jot down what this might be. However, he doesn't get much out of it. It just seems like it's, well, nothing, but at the same time, what it spelled out. C, L, A. It just seemed strange. And then Deku did at least go to hear or look at the man tap down a few following things. And Deku, he does go to stare at the man's hand. As he does at least type out Claire. Now, Deku will go to look directly at Claire. And he does have his own suspicion. The man actually going to bring his fork up to his face and put some food in his mouth. Him chewing on it before going to talk back to Claire. Now, Deku, he does just go to look directly at both of these two. So, that guy, he's intriguing. Let's see. Okay. The Traquaw is inside Claire. Okay. Maybe that's his ticket. Now, whenever everybody they would go to leave back to their quarters after dinner, you do actually have some people who do still stick around and hang out with one another. They have tried to somewhat group up together and stick together. If somebody gets possessed by a Traquaw, at least they'd be around to monitor each other's activity, know who's doing what and who's who in the situation. Now, Deku, he actually is currently talking with Claire. Denki is with him, along with even a few other people. And right now, Deku, he actually does look directly at Claire, who she actually is having a bit of fun. Right now, all of them, they're in the entertainment area, and they're currently all playing something on a large monitor. And Deku can tell by the way Claire is acting that something actually might be off here. Now, Deku, yeah. Whenever he does go to stand up, he does directly go to walk around the couch. Him going to bring his hand down into his pocket, and then going to grab one of the Traquaw weapons. before you do actually, whenever he does, go to point it directly up to Claire. And at least go to whistle and ask Claire if she is real. Now, the moment Claire actually does go to look behind her, she'll see that Deku is aiming a weapon at her. And whenever she does go to jump upwards and backwards, she does at least go to bring her hands up. And a lot of people in the room, they do stare at Deku whenever he does do this. Denki himself does go to stand up, bringing his hands up telling Deku to just calm down, because what he's doing right now is not rational. And Deku, he does go to tell Denki what was the word they were supposed to use. Um, um, okay, synonym of the word is no, nah, um, the synonym, alright, that works. Now, Deku does look directly at Denki, telling him that he knew he wouldn't even been able to pronounce that word. However, he does at least wonder about Claire, asking Claire if she has gaps in her memory. To which Claire just stared directly at Deku. Her at least going to look down and try and think for a minute, trying to formulate what to say. However, the reactions whenever she does go to try and think about this for more than a second, and she does realize a few things. She's been feeling out of it for some time, and right now, thinking about it clearly, there are gaps. There are actual gaps in her memory. And this does freak her out. Her going to look up towards Deku and tell him she does have some. And that it actually starts to concern her. And Deku does look at the way Claire does react. As while Deku is starting to look at Claire, you do have whenever somebody does come walking into the room. Whenever Deku is going to turn and look at them, you do actually have an orb of light, which does come flying directly at Deku and hits him. Now, I better watch this thing streak across the room and fly into Deku, as Deku just go flying backwards and smashing into a machine, before he actually is going to fall forwards. Now, we do actually have inside of the headspace, where Deku, he actually is sitting in that field. And right now, he does get to stand up onto his feet, walking over, as you actually have one of the orbs who does come flying down to the ground. And the moment it does go to smash down, it does go to look around the place it's in. It's surprised. What is this? Welcome. Well now, I had a few theories, but honestly I didn't think this would work. Who are you? Why are you here? Me? Why am I here? It's quite simple. Cuaght, you're on my ship. You're attacking my crew. And right now, you're in my head. Now, we do actually have in the real world, where Deku, his body does start to glow. And whenever he does go to stand back up onto his feet, a lot of people, they're staring at him. And Denki, he does look right at Deku. As Deku, whenever he does go to bring his hands up, he does tell Denki to wait. Shit. Him running over and grabbing the gun. Him going to bring it up and point it directly at Deku. And Deku does tell him to wait, Denki does try to fire. Deku directly going to dodge out of the way before going to tell Denki that he has the Cuaght trapped in his head. And right now, he's trying to figure out what to do. Dude, I need to shoot you, don't I? Denki, just give me a minute. Now, Denki, he's not sure what to do. Okay, a minute. Should he actually do that though? I mean, alien in his head and all, and possession, from the way he described it, that takes time and, I mean, if that's the actual Deku, then he would be fighting back, right? And the thing wouldn't be telling him to stop, or no, the thing would be trying to stop him from shooting it, and the real Deku would be encouraging it, or no, wait. Now, Denki, he's trying to figure out what to do. And Deku, he just tried to at least talk Denki down in the real world. And we do currently have back inside Deku's head. Amelia is going to walk over to the orb as the alien does go to see the dead Cuaght. Is that it? Deku walking over to it and bringing his hand up. The moment his hand does actually go to run over the surface of it, we do have back on Earth, where Amelia actually does feel something tickle her brain. And she actually does go to look upwards towards the sky. And the moment she actually does go to do that, you do actually have Claire's mother, Amelia's mother, Alice, who is actually somewhat surprised. Amelia had her absolute focus on something for a second, and the moment she trailed off for a second and stopped talking, and then looked up, she thought that Amelia was communicating with Deku, and that it somewhat surprised her for a minute. Deku can communicate with Amelia through the mind. However, the problem about that is, if they're communicating that way, instead of a secure channel, there might be a problem on the ship. Now, we do actually have up in the mind space, or in the mind space, because it's not really a physical location. Now, in the mind space, Amelia does go to reappear, and whenever Deku does go to see her, she actually does go to step forwards, asking exactly what is happening. Deku at least going to bring his hand up, as Amelia just come walking over to him. And Deku does go to at least look down towards the Cuaght, as it is trying to fight the mental restraints it seems to find itself in. Now, Deku, he does start to monologue to the Cuaght. Whenever he was fighting back against these things, them in particular, he found quite a lot is possible. What do you mean? What is your meaning? Well, I know quite a bit about you. Your species, in fact. Not only do I have access to your dead friend here, I have access to every amount of information he does know. However, the problem with taking it on is the mental burden. The wholehearted pressure the human mind feels with it. Thousands and thousands of years of information running itself through your head. And right now, I have a plan. This is going to be something we're going to do in order to not only take you down, but in order to actually balance out. Balance out? You humans are so strange with your language. Do you even know what you're talking about? Yes, I do. And I'm currently aware you have no idea about the situation in space. You thought we were attacking something important. An outpost. One of yours. So, that tells me quite a bit. I know enough already, Cuaght, to know your people. You're tricky, manipulative, deceitful. And, well, if I do have to say it, you're not too far off from my own species. However, your violence, way more than mine. Your arrogance, way more than mine. And you're sadistic. You completely are so self-absorbed of the idea that you are unstoppable, unbeatable, and undefeatable, that you haven't even realized you walked into a ship I had planned as a trap. Now, do you want to know exactly why you can't do anything in my head? Now, they're just going to hold something up and express to them. In the real world, this is what it does look like. And it is currently on the back of his neck. He had it implanted earlier before he did decide to actually pull them in for dinner. So, they need to know. This currently is stopping them. It's a psychic device they made to actually somewhat trap a Cuaght trying to possess somebody. It's hilarious, actually. What they do is they monitor for abnormal brainwaves. For humans, they're okay. For Etsos, they're still sort of tricky. And right now the Cuaght, it does stare at Deku. As when Rimley does ask Deku why he's touching the orb, Deku just tried to explain to Amelia. Right now, the information they can get from the Cuaght, it is completely unlimited. If they can use this Cuaght as a filter for most of the information, then they can learn all about their civilization, and maybe even find ways to help stop the war. At least with that information, they'll be able to, well, win on a small front and drive them out of their sector of space. They won't want to come back to Earth because Earth will actually be able to fight back. And it won't be one of their little playthings anymore. Now, Amelia, she actually is very happy to hear Deku say that. And she herself is actually quite intrigued to know more about this. However, she actually does want to be cautious here. Deku, the way he's talking about things and going about it, yeah. There are many risks to know about here. And right now, if they don't do this right, there is the fact that both of them can be harmed. Along with that, even, well, their child. Now, Deku, he actually starts to push his hand into the orb. And whenever he does so, he actually starts to bring his hand upwards. The Cuaght flying towards him. And the moment Deku, he actually at least have it float in front of him, Amelia is going to bring her hand up to it. Her with her arm around Deku, as her right hand reaches out for the active Cuaght. And we do currently have aboard the ship, where Deku he does go to fall forwards onto his knees, and then go to at least tell Denki to call in an Etso right now, because they need somebody to help monitor his mind. Now, Denki, yeah. Whenever he does go to bring up his wrist and make that announcement to security, a lot of people, they are rushed in. And a few people, they're kind of confused. However, there is actually somebody who does come running up. They're a doctor for the Etsos. And right now, they're trying to base everything they know about Etso biology mentally to human. Hopefully, they're able to help. And there is actually whenever Deku, he does allow the doctor into his mind. Now, where the doctor does go to appear, it actually does try to guide many things through. However, it also does have to do a few things. It has to constantly monitor Deku's mind, and see if it does need to do a few things, or even, well, take some of the brunt of this mental bombardment. Now, the same can be said for Amelia. Her mother would help her do this. And whenever Amelia, she actually herself does have her eyes start to glow, there was whenever Alice got scared. Now, we do at least have back inside the ship. Whenever Deku, he actually does pull away from the doctor and immediately turn to Denki, telling him to shoot. And the moment Deku, he does go to say shoot, Denki pulls the trigger, as Deku does go flying backwards and onto the ground. Now, after that does actually happen, we do have, over with Amelia. She herself was sitting down in a chair, and she actually did feel the sever connection happen. She did feel the connection sever happening. And there actually is whenever she would go to somewhat throw herself backwards in her chair because of whiplash. And her nose is starting to somewhat bleed a bit. Now, we do at least have Deku, who, whenever he does get back up onto his feet, he does go to grab the gun from Denki. And Denki, he does at least go to watch Deku calmly walk out of the room. As whenever he does so, he does go to walk to a door. Whenever he does get there, the man, he does go to answer it. And whenever Deku is going to walk in, the man does ask Deku what he would like to talk about. Because currently, Deku is going to fire at the guy. And whenever he does hit the man, he does going to fly backwards into the wall. And a lot of people, they were watching that. As Deku, yeah. Right now, he has a good idea as to what they're doing. And there is actually whenever they do get to the place and monitor it. And they do find out what it is. It is actually a Dratic's mining operation, and they are actually harvesting certain things from a planet. And Deku does go to watch the hollow planet float there in the sky. And there is actually whenever they do go to turn around. Now, there was quite a lot happening there. And Deku, he was trying to think of a good plan to fight off the aliens, or to at least strike a blow to this place. And, well, humanity, they would strike that blow. However, Deku, he would return back to Earth with this information. And over the course of the following months, humanity, they are prepared for a lot to happen. And the Alien Council, yeah, whenever Deku does bring a lot of information to them, they are going to help humanity. Now, we do currently cut to an alien planet, where many of the inhabitants here, they have been trying to fight. These strange beasts came from the stars. Then, they attacked. They killed many people here on the planet, and the survivors, they've been doing their best to try and survive. However, these things, they shake the planet, they shake the world. Yet, they can't be harmed. These things are devils that came from the sky. And they've brought along a great machine. Them being able to look up into the sky and see this large device. Something massive. And it's horrific. To them, this thing might as well be the end of the world. And we do currently have something that's come flying into the solar system. As everywhere around the planet, something does start to close in. And there is actually whenever a large piece of debris was sent flying free from the asteroid belt nearby. And currently it is on course. As, where it is hit its target, it does go smashing straight into the large Dratic device, as it does get sent flying away into space. Now, when that does actually happen, there is over the large asteroid carrying away the device, it actually is getting not only hit by explosions, it also does start to fly towards a large gas giant, as it is pulled into the planet. Now, there actually is on the planet where strange things do start to smash down onto it and land. And there is actually where the person who did see the strange device in the sky move, they were just surprised. And then there was a large bright light flying down towards them. They had to move. They dived away from it, and they watched it smash directly down through a building. And there was whenever it did start to move and begin to actually show it was alive. Now, whenever it did go to stand up, the person is just going to stare at it, thinking it was another one of the devils from the sky. As whenever they did go to turn around, they saw that there was a Dratic flying by. This large alien did actually see this device on the ground. Whenever it did go to fly towards it, there actually was the devil. They saw it fly upwards and directly attack this thing. And they did start to see many more of them come by. These things from the sky came to kill the devils. And that is all they do understand. Right now, this is something they don't understand. Something that they're just so mystified by. And there is actually whenever it is all said and done. Now, we do actually have where two pilots they're currently talking and going over quite a bit. So, what did you think? What do you mean, what did I think? Well, you know what I meant. How do you think that we looked to them? The inhabitants? I mean, we look like we always do. This grand savior? No, that's not the right one. We look like gods to them, don't we? Or at least some sort of battle-hardened thing. So you think we look supernatural to them? I mean, it would explain quite a bit, don't you think? Now, the person is going to bend down, them reaching into a pile of rubble, going to move heavy pieces of it as people, they do see the devices, them trying to bring up weapons to fight. However, their weapons are very ineffective, and there is never a few other people to come running up and try to explain the situation, the people being carried away to safety. As the pilot does go back to talk. Yeah, anyways, like I said, I'm just curious. I mean, that one alien species we'd encounter, they literally wanted to worship us. Yeah, but they were, very, very primitive. They didn't fully understand what was going on. I mean, I wouldn't say those were the dominant life forms either. They still seem to be, you know, well, yeah, but their planet was still messed up. We had to help them out. Listen, Arthur, I get it. You're just like your dad, but you gotta be careful with that, man. I mean, hell, my dad's still worried about me. Well, I mean, it's right to assume so. Besides, you wouldn't believe my dad. Arthur, your dad's insane. I mean, he's the reason why this is all ever happening. Ah, that's true. Now, there is actually where a notification has pop up on Arthur's screen, and he is informed that currently they're going to be landing on the planet to talk to the inhabitants, and they do hope to have enough of their language known to their translators. Now, Arthur, he does get to sit down, him actually going to put the back of the suit or his back directly outwards and go to eject himself from the suit. Whenever he does so, you do actually have some of the inhabitants. They saw him come flying out of the back of this thing, and he actually does go to bring his hands up and wipe away some of the slime covering his face, as he does get to take a breath of air, and talk about how this one's pretty weird. Dude, are you even sure that that's safe? Instruments checked it before, man. Besides, that feels good. You don't even know how weird it is not breathing oxygen for me. Dude, I mean, I could assume. Besides, you're, something weird's happening with you. Now, Arthur does go to look down towards his hands. His entire body is glowing. Oh, okay. Now, whenever a ship does come landing down to the ground, and the ramp does come down, there actually is Arthur, who does go to stand at attention, as two people do come walking down the ramp. And you do actually have Amelia and Deku. Deku actually stepping forwards to his son, as he's going to bring his hand up and tell Arthur that he did very well today. Thanks, Dad. Him reaching out his hand. As a lot of people, they do go to stare at this. These three look to be of three different species. I mean, there is the purple one, and then there's the one with the strange hair color? No, that's not even the right way to say it. The one that his body is surrounded by that glow as well. No, wait a minute. It's coming off of all three of them. Now, the reaction is whenever Deku, he does get to turn his head and go to at least bring his hand up. As whenever a bunch of stuff does start to come off the ship, he does start to at least try to walk the aliens through how to do it. Some of the ones who have been given the translators, they at least have tried doing what they can. And after a lot of talking back and forth, and starting to understand more of each other's languages, humanity, Etsos, and even this race do all start to talk. And you at least do have Arthur. He saved somebody very important to these people. And right now, he is being told about what's going to be happening. A celebration and a feast will be thrown to honor what they've done for them today. And Arthur, yeah. He is curious, but at the same time, he would rather refuse. The last time they saved a species and he ate some of the food, it didn't really turn out too well. Now, Arthur, he's currently walking along the planet, as he was going to bring his hands up and put his hair back into a ponytail. Now, he does go to look around. As many people, they do want to talk to him and understand where they come from, where the people from above the stars came from, as well as why those things came down to the world to attack them. And with that being said, humanity, they have gone through many strides. The Council and the universe as a whole, they are still recovering from much that has happened. However, this is just the beginning. One of many planets humanity has taken back. And just a little demonstration as to what they've done to push back their enemies. The path to taking back the universe, it is not an easy one. However, the path to making sure life isn't needlessly wiped out by, well, homicidal aliens, that one, it's going to take time and efforts. A lot of efforts. And right now, I do believe that is a good point to end the series. And I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, I wasn't going to do a cop-out ending and say, oh yeah, they just miraculously end the war. This just shows that it's going to take a lot more time and effort. And that by the time they do that, a lot of time would pass between then and the end of the war. Now then, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed this series. I certainly did.